Just gonna wait a couple minutes, see if I can get some people on here. It is actually a Memorial Day weekend, and anyway, what's going on? What's on Centron? What's going on, Marcelino? What's going on, Althea? Marlon, what's good? Thank you. Everything is all good. What's up, Danny? How you doing, man? Yo, what's up, Massey? What's going on? You friend request? Okay, I gotta look. I don't always look at the friend request, but I'll take a look at it. Mackenzie, Brother Curtis Tate, Grafton Jones. Good evening, Brother Centron. Yeah, I just got off the Iron Horse, so I was out there. Did about I did about 180 miles today, or more or less, all in Long Island. So it was good. It was good riding weather, and plus the traffic was good, so I was able to get from where I needed to go quick. Anyway, let me start this little live, and I want to just give y'all a little information. You know, I haven't been able to get on here in a while. I've been really busy. The negotiation sessions has me crazy. Has me like every day almost. Last week, you know, we didn't have nothing last week. But let me just get in. Let me just dive right on in. Let's talk about the MTA police. I mean, I wanted to talk about that last week when it was all going down, but the MTA police that was sicked on our workers. I think that was the most disgusting thing that this employer could have had done to us. And you know, we started to you know, fight back in many different ways, and I really appreciate the stance that our international president John Samuelson has took, and our president Tony Utano, who actually got the police off of us. But we started to do a little bit of our own thing. And we started going out with the campaign. If you're not gonna protect us, we gonna protect us. So we started going out in the routes, particularly on the M14 line, because that's a high assault line. We was out there last week Monday. And we was out there and just making sure our people were fine and all right. And, you know, that's what we need to do. Sometimes we just got to police our own and make sure that we're safe. So we know that the MTA did their thing with the police. The chairman did what he did. I had a response for those of you who are on Twitter. And you should get on Twitter, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on there quick on Twitter. And I had a detailed response on Twitter, and I made sure that the people that needed to know how we felt, they knew how we felt. All right. So if you don't have Twitter, you can you should sign up with Twitter, and you can friend me at Donald Yates 69. And follow me at Donald Yates 69. I do a lot of tweeting, and you know, you'd probably really appreciate some of the fight backs and some of the conversations or arguments that be going on. Let me get into some stuff here. Prescription drug changes. I don't know if all y'all are aware, we have some prescription drug changes that's coming up. We're not going to be having Express Scripts no more. It's changing over to CVS Caremark. All right, look for your cards in the mail. It's going to be effective on June 1st. It's right around the corner. June 1st, 2019. All right. I also want to comment. Let me comment on these on the bus cuts. Now, there's been reports that, in the Post reported it, that they have some bus cuts. So when we heard that, we just happened to have operations planning the same day. Now, operations planning is when the union meets up with the people who plans for whatever cuts or additions, shuttle work, all that planning stuff. We were at the table with management, and we basically asked the question, what's good with these cuts. And what we was told essentially is that they haven't cut nothing. They have the Bronx redesign plan, as what people know, and they're doing redesigns everywhere. And of course, based on those redesigns, they're gonna run things a little bit more efficiently. But as far as Manhattan, on the M55 in particular, they went from 15 trips to 20 trips. So they added trips on that line, but they took trips away from the M12. So the cuts that they did is they took away trips from different places and added it where they needed trips, such as the 14 SBS that's coming up, because of the impact that the L train is going to have. That they needed to have as much equipment and as much personnel over on that side of the routes to make things run smooth for the 14. Izzy, what's good, man? So there's not really no cuts that's really coming down the pipes the way people are saying it. At least they haven't reported it as of yet. Now, there's one thing I do want to talk about out of the ops planning. Matter of fact, there's a few things that I will let you guys know about ops planning. Now, let's go to the washroom. Let's go to the M1 out of Mother Clara Hale. They started what's called a transit signal priority in late April. Now, what that is the buses is equipped with this TSP, which is designed to extend the light for the bus, so the bus can go through the light. All right. The only thing that I found wrong with the system is that ops planning couldn't tell us what buses that they were on, and we need that information so we can hold management accountable to make sure that this equipment is in the proper bus and in its laneage. So if it's supposed to be on the M1, then we would set it up where all the M1s would stay in a certain lane with this particular equipment. But even though it's been out since April, we're not so sure that it's actually out on the right routes. So you just got to stay tuned for that. That was something that came out in ops planning, and certainly it hasn't come out nowhere else. So we'll stay tuned about that. So the bus cuts. It's not really bus cuts the way they're saying it, and the way they was trying to initiate some crap. What it really is they're doing the Bronx redesign and some of the trips that they're moving around in the system in order to make the M14 or the SBS 14 work. Good evening, Ariel. Izzy, good evening. So now let me just tell y'all what we've been doing. Now, we've been on the routes to show some presence, because we feel that the police is not out there enough to protect us. So, some of the OGs, such as myself, got to get out here, and I have no problem with that. So I get out there on the routes, and if you see me and wave at you, or you see me standing on the corner, I'm just out here checking on you to make sure you all right. That's me. I've also been doing this in the subways. So, last week, I believe it was Thursday. I no Wednesday. It was Wednesday. I went home from Michael J. Quill Depot, and I went and walked over to 6th Avenue, and where I was going to catch the M train. So I stayed in the station for a little while, checking on the conductors over there, and then I got on the M train, and then I took the M train across the bridge into was that the Myrtle Avenue stop. So I got off the train there. So I let about 6 or 7 trains go by. Happened to be sitting in the area where the conductor has to either hit something or whatever it is that they're doing. They're checking the whole train, and I got to tell you that they was very professional and in what they did. And when I approached some of the train operators, I had on my jacket. It said TWU, and it says my name, Donald Yates. And I just went up to the train operator, and I just asked them how they was all right. Is everything good? And just checking you guys out, making sure y'all all right. The conductors at the station seemed very uncomfortable that I was approaching them, and I guess I can understand that, because they don't really know who I am. I'm a bus rep, and I'm approaching some conductors, and they don't know who I am. But that's okay. They just need to know that we're always looking out for our brothers and sisters. Doesn't matter if it's in our division or not. We out here to give assistance where assistance is needed. Because I always preach that we're our brothers and sisters' keeper. So we must always maintain that. All right. So let me get to some. I'm going to get my next couple of items are going to be some juicy items. So I want y'all to listen carefully. Now, shifting in MAP Stoa, shifting in the OA, and I need y'all to pay attention to this. For years, shifting has been on our pick board, and we have a shifter who pulls the bus in and moves buses and parks buses around the locations, and we also have maintenance shifting who assists the maintainer by pulling the bus on and off the lifts and the pits inside of the various depots. Now, what's been occurring, and I'm going to focus on Mother Clara Hale Depot, what's been occurring ever since the operator or the cleaner from College Point Depot passed away from that unfortunate incident, we were supposed to be getting flagging, right? That was what they was talking about. Obviously, it never really came to fruition. If you look in every depot, where you don't really see no paid flagging, because transit just don't have it in their budget to do so. Now, with that being said, in Mother Clara Hale, they had some maintainers that were being paid to flag the bus operators while they was backing the buses off the lift. The Transit Authority ended that in another pick. I'm not sure of when, because I wasn't sure that it existed. But there became a dispute when they ended it, because one of the shifters in Mother Clara Hale Depot was requesting that they got assistance to back up the bus. The maintainers were refusing because it was a job issue for them, because they took away their pay, and that's understandable. We'll stand together with our brethren any day of the week. So now management comes in to see what they can do to resolve the problem. So management decides, okay, how about we have the maintainer back the bus off the lift, and the bus operator will take the bus from the maintainer after he backs it up off the lift. So I got wind of it from the chairman over at Mother Clara Hale, Ronaldo Rios. He let me know that this was going on. So of course, I had to tell him that could absolutely not happen, because that's our work, and this is something that Transit tried to do in 2017 negotiations, where I had Daryl Irick and Craig Cipriano sit down with me and ask me and the division chairman of the Bronx, Claude Marshall. They asked us if we would be willing to let maintenance have shifting duties on their pick, and they told us that it wouldn't take away from our pick. But I guess they thought they was talking to a moron, because I know once I would allow something like that to happen, then my pick board would start being less and less and less. So of course I was never going to let that happen. So then that was back in 2017. So I said no to it. Claude Marshall said no to it, and we just went on. Now, 2 years later, 2019, now the solution to fix the problem of Mother Clara Hale is to have a maintainer back the bus off the lift. They must be crazy. That's what they tried to do in 2017. So I saw that coming. We stopped that, right? I made a phone call to the general manager of the borough. General manager essentially said, "Oh no, that's not supposed to happen." But I believed that smoke was being blown up my ass as normal. So I took it a step further. On a day that we had our executive board meeting, I was asked by the maintenance union reps about that same situation and what I felt about it. And I told them what I felt about it, and it was at an absolute no. There was no way that I could even entertain that conversation. And let me go on to explain to you guys who are not really sure as to why I can't entertain that conversation. Number one, shifting is a premium job for senior people. That's what we go to when it's time for us to say, you know what, I had enough of the road, let me pick this. That's a premium job. Number two, when you get a restricted duty, a lot of times that restricted duty is to shift. So now there's another thing that is a job that may be available, that just in case you get restricted from the MAC Center. So it's another reason why I can't okay that. And number three, what about the reasonable accommodations that everybody's talking about? So now you want to take away shifting from the bus operators, and then we have women who need reasonable accommodations. So you see how this little vortex of bullshit goes on. If you're not paying attention to it, then these folks will really try to take advantage of a situation fast. So now let's go move on to Quill. And I want to shout out Sean Battaglia from Michael J. Quill. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because they tried to change up the whole shifting formula over there, where they was really jacked up the shifting. Then Sean Battaglia called me up and let me know what was going on, and I specifically told him, see about the maintenance shifting. Is the maintenance shifting have any coverage or whatever? And Lord and behold, what do you think they was trying to do in Michael J. Quill? They was trying to not cover certain maintenance tricks. So by not covering it automatically, a maintainer would be doing that work. So we caught that, and so the shifting has been reallocated the way it is supposed to be. So, brothers and sisters, keep an eye out in your depots. If you see a maintainer backing up the bus for whatever reason, kindly let your union rep know so we can take care of that situation. And this is only in MAPSTOA only. All right, this is not TA Surface. This is not MTA Bus. This is specific to MAPSTOA. If you see a maintainer backing up the bus, let your union rep know, because that union rep has to get in touch with me right away so I can address it. We're not about to go and play this game of giving up our work. No way, not on my watch. The last thing on my list, and I'm gonna read something to you guys, but it's the last thing on my list, and it was in response to a brother out of Jackie Gleason Depot. Now, the reason why I responded to it was because a couple of my colleagues called me up and pointed it out that a guy was telling people how to opt out of their union, and based on the Janus ruling, and he gave this long post about how you can opt out your union and why he's opted out of the union. His name is John Williams from Jackie Gleason, and he was telling his story, which I respect. I respect his story, but what I will tell you is that he was wrong in a lot of things, because he basically was focusing on the union administration and what they were doing wrong, and what the monies they were being spent. And I was like, well, this guy's talking about stuff that I'm in the administration, and I don't know about this stuff, but I do know that a lot of this stuff is put out there on Facebook, so that means that people are getting their information from Facebook incorrectly. All right, and I'll be the first to tell you, there's a lot of things that go out on Facebook that is very entertaining, right? And then if it becomes entertaining, it becomes where everybody wants to comment on this entertainment. But there's a lot of falseness to this entertainment that they put out there, and a lot of people puts information out, and then a lot of people shares the information, and then people automatically think that the information is true because nobody's really responding to it. And for whatever reason, nobody should really have to respond, but everybody talks about reading and checking the information. And I don't think people really check the information that's put out there, because if you really did check the information that's out there, you would know that 3/4 of the shit that's put out there is not true, right? Now, with that being said, I'm gonna, like I said, John Williams from Jackie Gleason, he went in and was telling people how to opt out of their union, and I'm gonna read to you what my response was, because I did have a written response, and when I wrote the response, it got deleted off the page. Then I decided I would put it on my page and on the Map Stoa page. But you know what? The people who took it down off the site, I will just say that that probably was the right thing to do, but then people scream foul that we're trying to withhold information, and certain information is dangerous, I gotta tell you. But my response, and I'm gonna read to you exactly what my response was, because last weekend I went to the African American Museum in Washington, D.C., and I got reintroduced to American history. Because that's what it is, American history. So based on what happened in the context of my visit to that museum, I came up with my response, because it's very, I'm gonna let y'all listen to it. It's my opinion, and my truth is my truth. Doesn't necessarily have to be your truth, but it doesn't mean it's not true. I've often said that, right? But this is my response to John Williams. My response will sound extreme and maybe far-fetched for some. For others, my response will be understood. Many labor unions came in existence because America was built on slave labor. What does that have to do with the right to opt out of your union? everything. There were struggles through American history for all men to have the same rights under the Constitution. Slave labor was and still is the backbone to profits. Unions are the checks and balances of corporate greed and power. Where am I going? Emancipation Proclamation. In American history, there was a process to end slavery and laws to enforce that direction. However, in the South, and now in a lot of other states, we have right-to-work laws. Let's compare. Is not Janus a form of right to work? In contrast, is right to work not slavery by a different name? Let me explain. In the fields of the sugar and rice plantations, the labor was harsh and dangerous. The violence of overseers was another threat to the lives of enslaved people. Right to work was born out of the elimination of slave labor. Janus is an extension of that idea. In closing, I say yes, read everything, but to not read American history, and I do mean from slavery to what we currently have. To not understand the past is not to understand the present. The past is of value only as it aids in understanding the present, and understanding the facts of the problem is the first step towards its solution. In context of a particular law, in parentheses, I've talked about Janus, it doesn't come close to explaining that Janus is an exploitation of the real corporate agenda. I won't tell anyone what to believe, but I believe that everyone should check out the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. to get the impact of real American history. Okay, so that was my response, and I believe that all of this having each other fighting the very fabric of what we need to fight the power. It's like the people don't like the leadership for whatever reason, and so they want to scorch the earth and then start anew. And then by the time you try to start anew, what happens? It's over for everybody. My closing statement will be this. People, if you want to be a union rep, pay attention. Learn from experienced people. Learn from experience. I got 25 years. I got a lot to teach. That I will close. Be safe, everyone, and have a happy and blessed Memorial Day. And for those of you who served in the military, thank you for your service. Have a great night, guys.